All right, everyone, get ready, because we are going to take a deep dive into sugar-free living today.
Oh, fun.
We've got some research here that's going to break down exactly what happens when you give up sugar for a whole month.
For whole months, huh?
Yeah, and just a heads up, the results are pretty amazing.
I bet.
Yeah.
So it's incredible how much attention sugar gets these days.
Right.
And for good reason. Right. What I find super interesting about this research is that it doesn't just, skim the surface.
Yeah.
It really goes deep and explores both the short-term effects of cutting sugar out and the long-term benefits.
The whole, system reboot.
Yeah. We're talking brain chemistry, energy levels, you name it.
The whole 9 yards.
The whole shebang.
Speaking of reboots, the research starts off by talking about how you might actually feel kind of off for the first few days after you quit sugar.
Oh, interesting.
You know that feeling when you haven't had your coffee yet?
Oh, yeah.
Kind of like that, except it lasts a little longer.
That makes sense, though, right? Like, your body's so used to running on sugar, it's like,
yeah.
It's high-octane fuel.
Exactly.
So when you suddenly cut it off, it's got to figure out a new way to get energy, right?
Yeah, like teaching an old dog a new trick.
Yeah, exactly.
It
takes a little time.
Totally. And you know what? This research actually dives into the science behind why those first few days can be so tough.
Okay.
It all comes down to dopamine.
Ah.
That feel-good chemical.
Everyone loves dopamine.
That gets released in your brain.
Yeah.
And the thing is, sugar triggers it in a way that's really similar to addictive drugs.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so no wonder
that's intense.
Those cravings can feel so intense.
Yeah, you're battling serious brain chemistry, not just willpower,
Right.
But you know what? The research also talks about how exercise can help actually strengthen the parts of your brain that are all about self-control.
So hitting the gym isn't just about burning calories.
No.
It's like giving your brain a superpower upgrade.
Exactly.
When it comes to resisting
those sugar cravings.
The sugar cravings, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, this is where I kind of geeked out a little bit.
All right, let's hear it.
You know how everyone is always talking about BDNF?
Yes.
It's like miracle grow for your brain, right?
Yes, brain-derived neurotropic factor.
Mm-hmm. And this research digs into how exercise actually boosts BDNF.
Oh, okay.
But sugar does the opposite. It suppresses it.
Oh, wow.
So not only does exercise help you to fight those cravings, it's helping your brain to thrive.
It's like a double whammy against sugar.
In the long run, exactly.
Yeah.
It's a win-win.
Totally. And this is just the tip of the iceberg, right?
Yeah.
As your body starts to adjust to life without sugar.
Yeah.
Your blood sugar levels stabilize, which is huge for your energy and brain function.
Oh, yeah.
You're basically giving your body what it needs to run more efficiently.
Yeah, like switching from that clunky old engine to a high-performance machine.
Exactly.
This one really blew my mind.
Okay.
The research actually says that ditching sugar can change how your taste buds work.
What? No way.
Yes. Your brain starts to perceive sweetness differently.
Oh, wow.
So natural foods actually taste sweeter and more satisfying.
Interesting.
It's like your whole palate gets this makeover.
That's wild. There's actually a story in the research about people who went sugar-free and then tried cake again.
What happened?
They were like, this is sickeningly sweet.
Oh, wow.
Like their bodies were like, whoa, this is way too much sugar.
That's so interesting.
It's like your body knows.
It's like your body's saying, hey, I don't need all this extra sweetness anymore.
Yeah, I'm good.
I'm good.
Yeah.
You're not just cutting out sugar. You're actually retraining your taste buds to appreciate the natural sweetness in real food.
Exactly.
That's pretty amazing.
It is, and all of this happens in just 30 days.
Just 30 days.
Yeah, imagine the possibilities if you commit to a sugar-free lifestyle for the long haul.
That's incredible.
We're talking serious health benefits here, but we'll dive into all of that in the next part of our deep dive, so stay tuned.
So we talked about how ditching sugar can make you feel a little rough around the edges at first.
Right.
But then your brain and body start to work better.
Uh-huh.
You don't crave sugar as much.
Yeah.
And real food starts to taste amazing.
Totally.
Sum me up, right?
Right. But you know what?
What?
This research goes even deeper.
Okay.
It looks at how those first 30 days can turn into some really big long-term benefits for your health.
It's like planting a tiny seed, and then suddenly you have this giant flourishing garden.
Exactly. And one of the most impressive things it talks about is how cutting out sugar can help reverse chronic diseases.
Hold on. Are we saying that cutting out sugar can help prevent some of the biggest health threats out there?
That's exactly what the research suggests.
Wow.
It makes sense when you think about it, right?
Yeah.
Sugar is a major contributor to inflammation throughout your whole body.
Yeah.
And that chronic inflammation is like a bad house guest that just won't leave.
Totally.
It wreaks havoc on your system.
Oh, yeah.
And it just makes you more likely to get all sorts of chronic conditions.
It's the worst.
Right. So by cutting out sugar, you're basically kicking that inflammation to the curb and giving your body a chance to heal and repair itself.
So remember that statistic we talked about in the last part?
Uh-huh.
How people with metabolic syndrome had a much higher death rate from COVID-19.
Yeah, that was scary.
Well, the research goes on to explain that this is because sugar really messes with your metabolism.
It does.
Which makes you much more vulnerable to all sorts of health problems.
Yeah, it weakens your body's defenses, making it harder to fight off threats.
It's like sugar is working against us.
Yeah, but here's the silver lining.
Okay.
The research also talks about how resilient the body is.
So, even if you've been living that high sugar life for a while now, your body can start to bounce back once you get rid of the problem, which is the sugar.
Okay, I see. I remember reading about fatty liver disease in here.
Oh, yeah.
All that extra sugar we eat basically ends up getting stored as fat in our livers.
Yeah.
Which can lead to inflammation and over time some serious damage.
Uh-huh.
But get this.
What?
The research says that cutting out sugar can help reverse that process.
It's amazing.
Isn't that wild?
Your liver is such a workhorse.
Yeah.
Even when we're not treating it well.
I know.
You're giving a break from all that sugar.
Yeah.
It's like hitting the reset button.
It can start to heal.
Uh-huh. And function properly again.
So we're basically giving our livers a spa day.
Yeah, exactly.
But it doesn't stop there.
Right.
The research also gets into how sugar affects your brain.
Yeah.
And it's not just those cravings we talked about.
Right.
It really gets into how sugar can mess with your brain's structure.
Yeah. And its function over time.
That's wild.
Remember that dopamine pathway we were talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Well, all that sugar overload can change how your brain works.
Wow.
It can make it hard to focus.
Okay.
It can even mess with your memory and make you more anxious and depressed.
Oh, wow.
It's like sugar is hijacking your brain.
So it's not just about our physical health.
No.
It's our mental and emotional well-being, too.
Yeah, which is scary.
It is a little bit scary.
But also kind of empowering.
It is empowering.
Knowing that we can actually change things.
You got it.
Right.
Absolutely. When you cut out sugar, you're not just breaking free from those cravings.
Yeah.
You're giving your brain a chance to heal and rewire itself.
It can bounce back.
Yes, exactly. There's a study in the research. They found that people who ate a low-sugar diet saw huge improvements in how well they could think and their moods, too.
That's incredible.
They could think more clearly, focus better, and feel more emotionally balanced.
It's like a total brain reset.
Exactly.
You break free from those cravings.
Yeah.
And you experience more clarity and focus.
And emotional stability, too.
Yeah, and emotional stability. Who wouldn't want that?
I know, right? And the best part is it's not all about willpower.
Yeah.
When you understand how sugar affects your brain, you can make better choices.
Okay.
And set yourself up for success.
That makes sense.
It's like having a roadmap.
It's like a guide.
To a healthier and happier you.
I love that.
Right.
All right, so we've dug deep into the downsides of sugar and uncovered some pretty incredible benefits of cutting it out.
Absolutely.
But now comes the hard part.
Yeah.
Actually putting this knowledge into action.
Right.
I'm so ready to kick sugar to the curb.
I hear, yeah.
But where do we even start?
Well, it's like we've been on this incredible journey, right? Exploring the world of sugar and how it affects our health.
Yeah.
But now we're at the top of the mountain.
We're at the summit.
Looking out at this vast landscape of our lives.
It's a bit overwhelming.
And I think a lot of people are like, okay, but how do I actually make this work in my life?
Exactly.
And the good news is that this research gives us some really helpful tips.
Okay, so what's step one?
Okay, step one.
Do we just throw out all the candy and cookies?
You know, a lot of people think that it's about going cold turkey.
Right.
But it's really not about that.
Okay.
It's not about deprivation.
Got it.
It's about finding what works for you and your life.
That makes sense.
And that starts with awareness.
Yeah.
You've got to know how much sugar you're actually eating.
So, like a sugar audit.
Exactly. You got to read those food labels.
Yeah.
Check the ingredient lists.
Make sure you know what's going in your body.
Exactly, because sugar hides in some sneaky places.
It really does.
So once you have a good handle on how much sugar you're eating now,
Okay.
you can start setting some realistic goals.
Okay. How do you mean?
Well, maybe it's cutting out sugary drinks.
Yeah.
Maybe it's swapping those processed snacks for some fruit. Okay. Or maybe it's just eating a little less of the sugary stuff.
Smaller portions.
Exactly.
Okay. I like that.
It's about small changes that you could actually stick with.
Yeah. It doesn't feel as overwhelming.
Exactly. Because it's not about being perfect. It's about progress.
I love that.
And remember, this isn't about depriving yourself.
Right.
It's about rediscovering how delicious real food can be.
Mm-hmm. The natural sweetness.
Yes, and finding healthy alternatives that you actually enjoy.
Yeah, so get in the kitchen and experiment with some new recipes.
Exactly. Have fun with it.
Find some new fruits and veggies that you like.
Yeah.
You might be surprised at what you discover.
Totally. And the research also talks about meal planning.
Oh, yeah.
Which is a game changer when it comes to cutting back on sugar.
Meal planning. Oh, yeah, that's a good tip.
It really is, because if you plan ahead,
yeah,
you're less likely to make those impulsive sugar-fueled decisions.
Especially when you're hungry.
Oh, especially when you're hungry.
And you just need something quick.
Yes, so prepare those meals ahead of time.
Pack healthy snacks.
Pack those snacks, yeah.
And have a backup plan.
Always have a backup plan. You got it.
Be prepared.
Be prepared, like a sugar-fighting scout.
I love that.
Right.
And speaking of cravings.
Yes, those pesky cravings.
The research actually gives us some helpful tips on how to manage those.
Like what?
Things like staying hydrated.
Okay, stay hydrated.
Getting enough sleep.
So important.
Managing our stress levels.
The stress is a big one.
Yeah, and finding other ways to reward ourselves.
Ooh, yes.
Besides those sugary treats.
Right. Because, let's be honest.
When I'm tired or stressed,
yes,
my willpower just goes out the window.
It happens to the best of us.
And the sugar cravings hit hard.
They do, and that's why it's so important to address what's causing those cravings in the first place.
Yeah, not just trying to power through them.
Exactly. Take care of yourself.
Get that sleep.
Get that sleep, manage that stress.
Yeah.
And you'll find that those cravings naturally start to fade away.
So it's not just about willpower.
It's a holistic approach.
It really is.
Yeah.
Okay, but what about those special occasions?
Yeah.
Like the holidays or birthdays.
Those celebrations.
When it feels like sugar is everywhere.
Yeah, it can feel unavoidable.
Do we just have to resign ourselves to a sugar overload?
Well, that's where balance and moderation come in.
Okay.
It's not about being super strict.
Got it.
It's about making conscious choices and finding ways to enjoy those special moments without going crazy.
So it's okay to have a piece of birthday cake?
Exactly.
Or a holiday cookie?
Yes.
If it's a conscious choice.
It's all about being mindful.
And not just mindlessly indulging?
Yeah.
I see. It's about the bigger picture.
Exactly. One day of indulging isn't going to ruin everything.
That's good to hear.
You just get back on track the next day and focus on making those healthy choices most of the time.
That takes the pressure off.
I hope so, because this isn't about being perfect.
It's a journey.
It's a journey, not a destination.
I like that.
It's about figuring out what works for you, making those gradual changes, and celebrating your progress along the way.
This has been such an informative deep dive.
It has been fun.
We've learned so much about sugar.
The good, the bad, and the ugly.
But most importantly, we've learned some practical strategies for making changes that stick.
Exactly. And that's what it's all about, right?
Yeah, taking control of our health and well-being.
You have the power to create a life that's both sweet and fulfilling without needing sugar.
And before we wrap up,
yes,
we want to leave you with one final thought.
Okay.
If just 30 days without sugar
just 30 days
can have such a big impact, what could be possible with a longer commitment
I love that.
to a healthier lifestyle?
It's exciting to think about all the possibilities.
So keep exploring this topic.
Keep learning.
Experiment with different things.
And find what works for you.
And discover your own path to a life that's both vibrant and balanced.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
See you next time.